The Democratic National Convention in Chicago is attracting a wave of activists. Thousands are expected to attend. They are drawn by the chance to voice concerns. Their focus is on pressing issues. These include the conflict in Gaza and reproductive rights. The activists aim to influence policy. They want their voices heard by those in power. The convention is a platform for political discourse. It's also an opportunity for dissent. Activists are prepared to demonstrate. They are inspired by recent protests. The goal is to create a visible and impactful presence. They want to make sure their demands are heard. Chicago is a city with a rich history of activism. It's the perfect backdrop for this gathering. The city is no stranger to protests. This makes it a fitting location for activists. They are prepared to make their voices heard. The activists are diverse. They come from various backgrounds. Their unity lies in their commitment to change. They are united in their demands. They hope to influence the Democratic Party's direction. A coalition of groups is leading the charge. One of the most prominent is the Coalition to March on the DNC. They have been organizing for weeks. Their goal is to ensure a significant turnout. They are expecting at least 20,000 participants. The Poor People's Army is another key player. They advocate for economic justice. They are known for their dedication. They recently marched from Milwaukee to Chicago. This demonstrates their commitment. These groups represent a wide array of causes. They are united in their call for a Gaza ceasefire. They believe the U.S. should prioritize peace. They also demand the protection of reproductive rights. They want to ensure access to safe and legal abortions. The activists see a connection between these issues. They view them as interconnected struggles for justice. They believe that peace abroad and freedom at home are intertwined. The activists' right to protest has not come without a fight. They have been engaged in legal battles with the city of Chicago. The issue at hand is the designated protest zones. Initially, the city attempted to relegate the protests to a distant park. This was met with resistance from the activists. They argued that this infringed upon their First Amendment rights. A federal judge recently ruled in favor of the activists. They secured a more central protest route. This victory is significant. It ensures their voices will be heard. The activists remain determined. They are prepared to make their presence known. They are ready to make their voices heard loud and clear. Section 4. Impact of new nominee on protests and policy demands. The selection of Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee has sparked debate. Some activists are hopeful that her presence will lead to policy changes. Others are more skeptical. Those who are skeptical argue that Harris has not done enough to address their concerns. They point to her record on issues such as criminal justice reform and immigration. Despite these concerns, the activists remain committed to making their voices heard. They believe that it is more important than ever to hold elected officials accountable. The activists are prepared to continue their fight. They want to ensure their demands are not ignored. Section 5. The atmosphere in Chicago, a city primed for protest. The atmosphere in Chicago is charged with anticipation. The city is bracing itself for the influx of activists. Security measures are being put in place. The presence of law enforcement is noticeable. Police officers are stationed throughout the city. They are tasked with maintaining order. Despite the heightened security, the mood remains largely peaceful. Activists are determined to make their voices heard, but they are doing so in a respectful manner. The city of Chicago has a long history of activism. It is a place where people feel empowered to speak out. The Democratic National Convention is just the latest chapter in this ongoing story.